The Los Angeles Angels have some of the best talents in baseball on their team. You got Mike Trout and you got Shohei Ohtani. However, a 73-89 record is not great when you have arguably the two best players in baseball on your team. Obviously, it is a team sport, and the team wasn't good enough last year. Heading into 2023, they made some moves, but can they be good enough to not risk losing Shohei Ohtani, whether in free agency or a trade around the trade deadline? It'll be interesting. We're going to cover this right here on the LA Angels team profile. My name is Derek. I'm here with Joey. You're watching Bleacher Brawls, and let's get straight into it. As I said, 73-89 was the Angels' record in 2022. Obviously, not what they wanted. They did start the year very well, but it went into a tailspin really, really quickly. Joe Maddon got fired. Phil Nevin was named as the manager. It was rough. It was rough for the Angels. The second half of not even the second half, like the last 4 months of 2022 was rough. So I'll hand it over to Joey. I mean, it's kind of obvious, 2 of the 3. So name 3 key players and who's the key guy for this Angels team.
Well, my 3 key players are, of course, Trout, Ohtani, and then Hunter Renfroe. There's a lot to be said about Ohtani and Trout, and people are going to say it all the time. So let's focus on Renfroe. Renfroe is a 30 home run, 25 home run guy, 100 RBI guy with the Red Sox. They got him on a cheap deal. Really good player. Could really be key in providing some lineup protection to Trout and Ohtani. They need another guy, and Rendon is a disaster. So if Renfroe can provide some of the power that they're missing, that could make that lineup formidable, much more formidable than it's been without Rendon. Let's not have it be a 2-man show. What about a 2.5-man show? And especially since the Angels are adding a lot of pieces, if Renfroe can hit, I think it will be very, very impactful for the Angels, despite what Luke Tobin says about how bad Hunter Renfroe is. Maybe they'll trade him for Jackie Bradley Jr. I don't know. But yeah, I really am interested to see what Renfroe is able to do.
Yeah, he's definitely a big piece, going to be a big piece for them in their lineup. I look at this Angels team. It's very interesting. I feel like they maybe have one too many pieces in the position player in terms of I see 10 guys that maybe could play for them in their 9 spots, and I don't know where to differentiate that 10th guy, like a Gio Urshela maybe from the 9th guy. But Trout and Ohtani definitely 2 biggest pieces. I still think Rendon's their 3rd most important piece because if he plays well, I still think he was injured last year. He had that hip issue in 21, and he was never the same. I mean, the biggest thing he did last year was hit a home run hitting left-handed in a blowout. So, I mean, is Anthony Rendon even going to be close to the Anthony Rendon that earned that contract? I don't know, but he's going to be important for them because Trout's Mike Trout, and back issues could be creeping up for Trout, so there's worry there. Shohei, it's like you got to be good or Shohei's pretty much gone out the door. And I think Shohei will be good. I've already predicted him. I've said my bold prediction was Shohei's winning the Cy Young this year. He's coming out, guns blazing, winning the Cy Young, winning the MVP. And if he does that, it's and the Angels suck, that's rough. That is rough, for them. So,
Derek,
yeah,
what you're predicting, I think, would be the greatest season of all time, probably, right?
probably. I mean, winning a Cy Young, he might still hit 35 homers while winning the Cy Young. I mean, you can't say that isn't the greatest season of all time. If it happens, obviously. Yeah, big pieces. Some other big pieces are a guy like the Taylor Ward. They brought in Brandon Drury. And as we talk about offseason moves, yeah, Hunter Renfroe they brought in a trade. They traded for Gio Urshela. They brought in Brandon Drury as a free agent signing. Also signed Tyler Anderson, Carlos Estevez. Looking at those moves, I know you're going to say Renfroe's the biggest deal. So, and you just talked about Renfroe. You want to keep on talking about Renfroe, or do you want to talk about someone else?
As much as I love Hunter Renfroe, and again, I hope he doesn't get traded for Jackie Bradley. Don't do it. Don't do it, Artie Moreno. Don't do it.
They could
Don't
just
listen to
sign
Luke.
Jackie Bradley.
Don't listen to Luke. Don't listen to Derek. But I think the biggest loss they had was losing Iglesias. Not having a solid closer like that is really going to end up hurting them, especially since they have such weak pitching. So I think that's the biggest loss they had.
Yeah, trading into Atlanta at the deadline last year was little bit of a head scratcher, and also too, they just gave him that big contract. I know he had a rough year the first half of last year, but he went to Atlanta and looked like the Raisel Iglesias that we saw in 2021. No, yeah, in 2021. Yeah, that is rough, and it's yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I think the biggest deal might be Brandon Drury just because of his versatility too. And but I do wonder, is the power back going to play because it played in Cincinnati, which is the most home run friendly ballpark I think anyone's ever played in the last 20 years. Um, their park factor, it's a league, it's a very hitter friendly park in terms of park factor. When you break park factor down, you give them their home run park factor. League average is 100 on park factor. For home runs, their park factor is 150. 150. The next closest is 124. It's the most home run friendly ballpark. What?
What stadium's 124?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but still,
Minute Maid
from
or something?
no, it's not Minute Maid. I don't remember who. Honestly, I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it's wild. Like Cincinnati's such a hitter friendly ballpark. So can Drury's power play? He did show a little bit in San Diego, which isn't a hitter friendly ballpark. So there's question marks there, but I think just his versatility will help very much. So, and that's kind of why I think he's probably the biggest move they made because Renfroe will play right field, and and you got a guy like Tyler Anderson adds the rotation. Although I think they have too many lefties in that rotation. But I think Drury's and his versatility will help very much too. Also, Gio Urshela is very versatile too, so I think he'll help them too. But expectations for this Angels team, and this expectation, I think their expectations are more dictated by the fact that Shohei Ohtani's in his contract year, right? So what are the Angels' expectations for 2023?
The expectations of the Angels for me, they've got to compete. I mean, they have to compete. I root for them every year just so I can see Ohtani and Trout in the playoffs. It feels like such a travesty. I just like, I want them to win, and especially, I mean, they're going to be competing with the Red Sox this year for probably that third wild card spot. But honestly, I mean, if the Red Sox don't get it, I'd like it to be the Angels. Get them in there, give them the chance to perform on the playoff stage. I think that's where they will be competing. This should be a over 500 team at the very least. You got a very strong AL West this season, but with the balanced schedule, they should be getting beat up by the Astros less. So if I'm an Angels fan, I'm tentatively excited for what's going to be coming this season.
Yeah, I mean, if they can get up to a good start like they did last year, and then just not spiral out of control. They could be in a good spot. I am predicting Shohei to win the Cy Young. I mean, imagine he wins the Cy Young, starts game one of every series the Angels have in the postseason, and you get
Trout,
to.
I mean, Trout could after last year. I mean, what did he hit? 40 home runs and
And he didn't even play full season because he had injuries.
yeah, so he hit 40 home runs in what was it, 120 games or something?
Something like that. It's outrageous.
Yeah, I mean, Trout is absolutely capable of hitting 50 plus next season. You could have Trout with a 50 home run season, Ohtani with a 35, 40 home run season while winning the Cy. I mean, the skill on that team is unbelievable. I mean, it could very easily be, Derek, that the MVP vote is, Trout 1, Ohtani 2.
Or vice versa, literally. Yeah. Trout hit 40 home runs in 119 games last year. 499 plate appearances only. So you could pencil him in to get another 100 plus plate appearances next year if he's healthy.
He's
Which
jealous of Dutch. He wants to touch 60.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I could definitely see him hitting 50 for sure. 60s, I feel like that's good. I don't know if that'll happen. Maybe they'll give him some Goldilocks balls next year. Maybe that'll help him. Maybe give some of those to Shohei too. Just let him have the best season anyone's ever seen. But yeah, the Angels, they have to be pushing for the playoffs. It's not that they should be. They have to be. Because if they're not, you got to heavily consider trading Shohei. Because if you don't trade him and then he's like, I want to win, so I'm leaving in this offseason, and you don't trade him, like, that might be the stupidest thing anyone's ever done. And there are only going to be so many teams that can get Shohei. But those are going to be teams that are like almost locks to make the playoffs and have a farm system. There aren't too many of them, but there should be a couple. So I think that's the interesting is who will make the move for Shohei if he does get traded. I think that's the big
Yeah,
question mark.
deadline. If the Angels are a bad team at the deadline, oh, I can't even imagine.
And also, too, if maybe they're not bad. Let's say they're just outside the wild card. Should they just kind of push their chips in and say we need to win this year? Like, there's some big questions about them, and that's why their expectations they must be in the playoff put. They must be making a playoff push. Can't be around just under 500 or whatever. No, you got to be pushing for the playoffs. That's the expectation. Push for the playoffs. If you're not, it's a failure because now Shohei Ohtani is probably walking out the door and playing somewhere else in 2024. So yeah, but I think that's a good.
Trout could ask for a trade.
I think only where a Trout trade is with his back is. Does anyone take that risk? I don't know. But it'll be interesting to see what this Angels team does. I think it's a good place to wrap it up on. So yeah, any Angels fans, let us know your thoughts in the comments on the Angels and what do you expect from them in 2023. Make sure to check out all our links in the description. The first link will be the playlist with all the team profile videos in there. So check that out. Make sure to check out all our other links to Bleacher website, podcast, Instagram, and Twitter, plus all the crew's Twitters. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you get notified when we post. For Joey, my name is Derek. Thanks for tuning in to our LA Angels team profile on Bleacher Brawls, and we'll see you next time.